it that way. So now it looks like there's a little bit of activity going on there. So, okay, it's a lot better. Okay, so now we've got to go and do something with these other Vipers. Okay, so going down the list, let's go Mark 7. This is Viper 7. Let's pull it down a little bit. Okay. And again, this is just as quick as I can go through this without getting too overly complicated. Usually on the show we have a few hours, sometimes to build these shots. Sometimes we have very very little time, but you can see just how quickly, if you've got a little bit of patience to do things, you can get stuff to build up really quickly. Now, once they have all of this done, I could literally clone, like I did before, this entire group and maybe offset which one of these groups is on the right and which one of these groups is on the left. And it would look like the entire fleet was animated by hand, but really there's a lot of repeating animation in there. You just have to break it up to get it to appear as if it was all random and everybody was doing their own thing. Alright, we'll move this one up. Fill this particular spot here. Move it over to the left a little bit. Give it a little tilt. That's going to be awesome. Alright, same thing with this one over here. And just move it. And in Lightwave, the transform and rotation buttons are T and Y on the keyboard. Alright, so right now I'm going to hit Y and it's going to switch to rotation mode. So I'm going to rotate that a little bit. Give it a purpose. Alright, and that is pretty much the end of the list, except for this one down here, number 12. I'm just going to drag it out a little bit. And let's minimize this and see what we've got. Okay, so that's a lot of Vipers moving around. This section over here is a little bit dead, but we won't worry too much about that. Let's take the camera for right now and just reposition this a little bit. We started with me in the corner with just one Viper up here, and now that the shot is kind of coming together, I want to change how this looks. So I'm just going to come down and we'll get a kind of a more creepy angle in there or something more aggressive. And now I'm finding that this Viper is kind of off to itself all alone. So, and we're kind of feeling a little bit bunched up. Because I've got everybody attached to nulls, I can move them around quite easily just by grabbing the parent null for the entire flight group and just move them around a little bit, which is great because now I can shove these guys all off to the side. And let's take the other one and maybe bring those guys up. And we'll just shove them over a little bit. Okay, let's go back into the perspective mode and see who is where and where is what. So nobody looks like they're directly flying into each other just yet. Everybody seems to be, in their own little space. Things are a little bit close together down here. But when you fly around it in this mode, it certainly helps the process of creating a shot, and you can see exactly who's got what space. These two Vipers right here seem to be almost on top of each other. Let's take a look. Oh, they're good. All right, so now that that's done, the next step is, well, we've got to animate all this stuff. Okay, well, let's animate it. Now, instead of grabbing each individual group and animating it, I'm going to do more or less what I did before and create a null. And we'll call this Viper Armada Master Flight Null. Okay. And we'll take everybody in this group and we'll bolt them onto this Master Flight Null for the entire Armada. And now I can basically take this null and transform the whole thing and move it. Now I'm moving it with the mouse, but I can also punch it in numerically. Let's do that. So we'll go minus on the Z axis. 200 meters, and they'll be that far away, right? And at the end of the animation, we will go plus 10 meters, so it'll kind of fly past camera or on the way past camera. So we'll go plus 20 meters. Let's go 20 meters. Don't actually have to have the plus in there, but I just think in those terms. All right, so once we go back to the camera view, we'll see that this group of Vipers is kind of flying out and doing its thing. All right, now it looks pretty boring because we've got zero camera movement here, so that'll be the next chore. And maybe while we're taking a look at this, we should also see exactly which Viper this one is here, because it seems to be moving quite significantly. Let's just take another look at this from here. And you know what, that's probably okay. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and grab the camera, and I'm going to do a little bit of an animation with it. I'm going to just drop it down again, and I'm going to end up with my end keyframe here for this little animation, which is only 60 frames, but you know, it's long enough to give you the idea. But we're not hanging on the ship, so that we can see that they're computer generated. That's the idea with shows where we're moving everything around really, really fast. We want to get on the shot, give you a little bit of eye candy, and get off it as quickly as possible. And that way, it doesn't look like it's, you know, deliberately, oh, here, look at all this money we spent on this visual effects shot. The purpose of the visual effects in visual effects are supposed to be that they're not visual effects. And that was certainly the idea behind Battlestar Galactica, is that when you looked at shots, they weren't intended to be eye candy visual effects that a lot of other shows do. Okay, so this group is kind of breaking up. We're going to put another keyframe in here. We're going to move the camera around a little bit more. Going to just go back to this portion here. All right. Okay, now that's pretty square and centered. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to incorporate that classic Galactica snap zoom nonsense. That wasn't nonsense, just it got really annoying after a while. And some people could do it, some people couldn't in terms of the artwork. Occasionally it worked really well, sometimes it was really bad, sometimes the producer's like, no, please move it this way, and it didn't really look all that great sometimes. We're going to snap this up to 9 or maybe 12, so it's really close. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus literally on almost one ship here. Let's go, who should we pick? Let's pick these ones over here. We're going to go and increase this even more. Okay, auto fit on the graph editor. Oops. And we're going to increase the zoom. Get it to zoom in a little bit more there. Or we can do it numerically, probably a better idea. It's pretty far away. Let's go 25. Actually get right in there. Maybe a little bit more. Let's go 30. And maybe 40. This is pretty close. This is now a super long lens. As you can see, every time we do that, it's going to increase. And we've got the lens focal length. It's 128 millimeters at the moment. Okay, so there we go. We're going to just scrub this through. And we've got some nice little camera motion there. Alright, we're going to move the camera a little bit. Just going to see where my camera's pointing to at the moment.